Alright, so in today's video I'm doing something a little bit different. I've been 3D printing a bunch of parts for my MK4 Supra using my Bambu Labs P1S. And I wanted to show you guys the stuff that I've been making. I want to tell you why I've been making it and some other parts that I plan on making next, which I know you Supra guys out there are going to absolutely love. So stay tuned. Watch the rest of the video. It's going to be mad. I promise this one will be good. All right, first things first. I want to introduce you guys to my 3D printer. I use this in the shed to kind of fix a lot of things, like even in the house, stuff on other cars and stuff like that. But specifically on the Supra, I want to show you guys the machine that I use, just because when I'm doing stuff on my car, I want you to be able to reference it on this. Some other printers are different and they work a little bit differently. The way you submit files and stuff are different. So just so you guys know every detail about how I do it, I'm going to show you guys the machine that I use. I think I paid around, from memory, I think it was about 1,600 bucks, somewhere around there, 1,600 bucks, and that gives you pretty much the unit here. So you'll get pretty much what you see. You get like an AMS unit. This is the Bambu Labs P1S. This is the, I wouldn't call it the entry level, but it's like a mid-tier level, and it's fully enclosed, which means being fully enclosed, the temperature inside can actually, like, you can actually lift the temperature inside here. The bed is heated, and because it's enclosed, it stays warm inside. Being that I'm in a shed, I'm outdoors, it gets quite cold in here at night. I don't have any problems printing with this. Now, the AMS on the top, now this unit here literally just houses 4 rolls of filament. This is the filament here. So there's all different types of filament you can get. PLA is what I use a lot of, and that's just for modeling. It's not really strong. Well, it's pretty strong to be honest, but it warps. It warps a lot, so you don't really want to use it for anything on a car or anything like that. But if you want like a proof of concept design, like you just want to like make something, for example, and then make sure that it works, you can make it in PLA, and then yeah, just go from there. So that's pretty much the printer there. The base comes off, so you can lift the base off, take your pretty much anything that you've kind of printed off with it, and then you can switch bases and stuff like that. Now, I've also got a dryer. So this thing here, it's a filament dryer. At the moment it's set to TPU. TPU is a type of filament that is soft like rubber. Now, that dryer actually essentially dries the filament, because the filament likes to absorb moisture. So by drying it, it's going to print a lot better in here. So I tend, with some filaments, you have to use this, otherwise it just won't perform when you try and print it. So running it through here, and then I've got it hooked into the machine, and then it prints directly from there. So I'm actually bypassing the unit up the top. So yeah, that's the printer there that I use, and I pretty much make a lot of things with it. So I think, you know, in this video, you're gonna see pretty much, I'm gonna skim through a lot of the drawing, because there's a lot of videos out there for drawing, but I'm gonna skim through that part. You'll see it, so you'll see me draw something from nothing to something, and you kind of get like a time lapse of me doing it. If you guys are interested in a bit more in-depth detail on how to draw something, I'm more than happy to do it. There is a lot of stuff online, but if you want me to do it specifically on like car parts, I can. So yeah, just let me know in the comments, and if you guys really want me to do it, I'll get it done. All right, first things first. I start taking measurements of the piece I want to replicate. So I'll take a measurement of the length, the height, the width. And what I'll do is I'll put those details into Autodesk Fusion. I'll essentially create a rectangle in this instance, and then from that I start shaping it. So I'll start taking measurements of where the curvature is, and I'll take measurements of the actual hole of the fastening point, so where the bolt goes through. Once I do that, I can then dictate the shape of the rubber, and then I can essentially make a copy of it. So I'll show you now what it looks like. I do end up taking measurements of the other piece as well, just so I can get them both done at the same time. This piece here though, just take note, it's pretty squashed, it's broken and it's deformed. So I don't actually go off these measurements exactly, but I try and make it a bit better. So here's an example of a print that I've done. Now I'll just grab this from my desk. This is a boot lid rubber for the tailgate. It actually goes somewhere around there. This one's the bottom one, so this actually sits on the bottom. This one goes about here. And then this is the top piece that goes up the top. Essentially when the boot closes, this comes down and like rests on that. And the idea of it is the weight of the boot is resting on this rather than, you know, completely on the rubber seal, and for example, the locking mechanism isn't copying all the weight. So it's like a door stop, or think of it like a bump stop in your suspension, right? Like it just kind of stops. So yeah, and this is like pushed in through the years. So really, it's not really acting like much of a bump stop anyway, right? So what I did was I made new ones. So just to give you comparisons, this is one that I prepared earlier, and I made it in transparent blue so you can kind of see it a bit better, but that's pretty much it. I've added a little bit more thickness to it because this one's obviously crushed and squashed and deformed. So I didn't really have an original to go off, like like IMAC original. If I did, I probably could make it the same. The other thing is I noticed it's got like these gaps here, and like these gaps have made it like flare out. Like where the gaps are is where it's like weakened. It's like crushed and squashed, and it's so brittle, it's like falling apart inside. So yeah, I go, man, I'll do it, but this time I won't actually put the slots in it like here. I could have easily put the slots there, so you could like kind of see like a slot here, but I didn't feel the need. And I left it like a little bit wider so there's a bigger face for the top one to rest on. So bigger contact patch, better support. And yeah, like man, even, not that I'm trying to like save weight with little stuff, but this is light. Like I reckon it weighs like 2 to 3 grams, whereas this is like maybe 15, 20. But yeah, like you can make stuff like this with a 3D printer. This part would have cost me like 40 bucks to buy. I didn't see the point. Like I could use that money towards, you know, engine stuff. No point wasting it on rubbers. It's not going to make me go faster. It's not going to change the characteristics of the car. So I printed the bottom. Now this one's the top. Kind of see that one there. This one's all right, but this is like solid. This is solid. This isn't rubber. It's like a hard plastic, almost like what do I compare it to? It's like ABS plastic. Like it's hard, right? It doesn't have give. I think the give's in the bottom piece. But I'm like, whatever. I'll make this, and I'll make it a little bit better, and I'll make it out of something that's a little bit softer. And the reason why I think it's important to make it out of something softer is it'll actually cushion the impact from the boot when you do shut it. So again, I made it with TPU, and it's pretty much a one of one. It's the exact same. It's got the same like curves in it. It's pretty much the same. The only difference is, again, I've matched it to the bottom piece, so the actual like length of it is the same, and then they press together perfect. So yeah, like that's one piece there. I've drawn it up. I reckon these two here weigh less than one piece here. Drawn it up, put it on. I've put it on the car, so I'm going to show it to you now so you can see. So you can see here on the back bar, the gaps here aren't too bad here. Now I've only just got it on there with 2 bolts, but this side has a bracket that actually mounts. It actually follows the line of the back bar. So inside here, I'm not sure if you can see it with the camera, but in there's a bracket that kind of squeezes the back bar onto the body. Now on this side, it doesn't have it. So you can kind of see the bar just doesn't want to sit good, right? So initially, like before, this bar was actually squeezed on with like 10mm bolts and some washers, and it was kind of pinching in the spots where the bolts are, but it wasn't like clamping the bar on the car properly. So to overcome this, I can't find the part. It like doesn't exist, and I'm pretty sure it's a discontinued part. You can't find it. I've tried to look online for some lying around, but you know, I thought, you know, it'd just be quicker for me just to print something up and make it work. Now, being as this is quite large, I'm not going to be able to print this in one piece. My printing bed, I think it's only 256 by 256, so I'm not going to be able to print the length. But what I can do is I can kind of make something similar to, I'm not going to be able to make it exactly the way the original item is, but I'll make it just as good. So it'll still clamp down across the whole section here. It'll probably just be like in increments where it fits on the printing bed on the printer. So the bar's off now. The first step we've got to take is we've got to take some measurements. There's 2 ways to do it, right? So initially I was going to use the 3D scanner to do the drawing, but I didn't want to do that because not everyone's got a 3D scanner, and I feel like a 3D scanner is a purchase that you make after you know a little bit about CAD. You don't just go buy one just because you got a printer, because it's not really going to help you. You need to understand how to use CAD a little bit, so when you do put mesh files into CAD, you can draw on top of them. So it's like reverse engineering stuff. So I'm not going to use the scanner. I'm pretty much going to kick it like old school and just use measurements. So there'll be a bit of trial and error measurements, but you'll still get the job done. It may not be as like accurate to the point of like reverse engineering, but for something like holding a bar on, I think it's plenty. Okay, so you can see the bar. I'm trying to show you underneath it, but that's the top part, right? So underneath it, it's clearly missing the bracket that we need to make. And I'll just show you this end. So this end's got the bracket in there. You can kind of see the screws poking through. So it's probably about 4mm. Like it's got like it's not 4mm thick, but it's probably like 1 or 2 mil thick piece of steel, and it's like rolled, so it looks like it's got the thickness of like 4 mil, but it's not. It's got like a locating like nub here that locates into the body of the car. Then it's got 2 M6 bolts, and then a thread here as well, like a nut that's actually welded onto this bracket. Essentially this part is pulling the bar into the body, and then these 2 are what are pulling it in. There is another screw down the bottom here that pulls it into the body, but that's something we'll have to try and design. Now, while I go on the computer here, and I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see it. Basically, I'm going to draw, I've already started drawing the design, the layout, but what I'll do is I'll pretty much start it all over again so you guys can see exactly what I'm doing. So right here, what I do is I go into sheet metal, and then I start using like a sketch tool, and the sketch tool is going to give me like, I'm going to be able to draw lines. So I'm not actually drawing an object, I'm drawing the lines. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of get the curvature where I think it's going to be, right? So it's not perfect. I'm kind of just eyeballing it a little bit. So then what I'll do is I'll reference the thickness of the actual piece that we're going to put underneath. So you can see there, I put like a little measurement there of 12.5. I ended up going 12.5. And then I get another line, another 12.5, so I make sure it's even across the board. Then I kind of finish that piece. Now you can see that I haven't done like a complete piece. Now, when you do this, it actually locks it into a position where if you use, like for example, what I'm using, Autodesk Fusion, it will evenly lock it to where it's the same thickness across all of it. Now, that's a small piece there that I've just done. What you would do here is you'd print that, stick it in there and see how it looks. If this piece here is like, for example, there's not enough curve in it, or it's not sitting right, great. You've used like 0.2 cents of plastic. Fix up your drawing a bit, come back and make the change again. If it's perfect, great, let's move forward. So here I start adding the second half, and I start setting up the curve like that. And again, 12 mil, stretched it out, bang, doubled it. So here I've kind of like almost finished it here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pretty much turn it into something solid. So you can do it 2 ways. You can actually just like press and pull, so like extruding it out, or you can use flange, and flange will turn it into a solid. And yeah, and then basically you got yourself a piece that you could print. So that's printable. That's you can export that as a 3MF file, which is what 3D printers use. And you can kind of print that, sit it under, for example, the bar that I'm working on, and go from there. Now with this part here, I actually took measurements of the holes on the bar, and I found the distance apart. Again, eyeballing it where I wanted to start it, so I kind of felt like that's where it needed to be. Put it in there, and then start lining it up. Once you put it under there with some holes, you can print this like 1 mil thick, and it's not really like using that much material, and then you can sit that under the bar and see if everything lines up. You don't have to go and print almost like a finished piece. So if you print it real thin, it's almost like a gasket, and then you can sit it under there, and if everything lines up, then like finish it and have it all done. So Yeah, so it's pretty straightforward. I don't think I'm the best person to teach people on how to use CAD. There's heaps of YouTube videos online on how to use CAD. So like I highly recommend anyone that wants to get into 3D printing or even has a 3D printer and wants to do a little bit more drawing. You know, Autodesk Fusion 360, whatever you want to call it, it's free. There is some parts of it that are missing unless you pay for it, but that's, you know, I think you don't really need that. Okay, so this is the finished piece here. You can kind of see the face of it, so that's the part that actually faces onto the body of the car inside the bar, and then this is the back. So the back I had to kind of shape it around here. I even made like a little cutout for the bolt here, so it kind of sits in it a little bit better, keeps it a bit more flush. And then I had to taper along this edge so it could get right into like the deepest part of the bar. So down here it's not so needed, but up here it needs it. So yeah, it sits quite nice. This is the top section. So again, just so we can clearance, and then the locator there. Basically what I did is I drew this area here, and then I also drew this section over here separately, got them all worked out, then I joined them together. Let's hope it all lines up the way it should. Look at that, it just all went in. I just need to push this part down. The only hard part is this, because this top section, it's got like, because I put a bolt on it, whereas on the other side it's just got like a, how do I say it, like a thread thing. Yeah, that lines up perfect. Look at the gap on that, that looks mad. That looks sick. And now the other side. That looks mad. I'll show you underneath. Over to the front of the car, where the brake booster is. Right here, there's a paper gasket in between the brake booster. What I did was, because the paper gasket disintegrated when I took the booster off, I ended up 3D printing a new one. Now, I guess it was like serving as a purpose to seal from any like condensation, water, heat, things like that. So TPU actually is a really good gasket. It's resistant to like high temperatures, not super high temperatures, but high temperatures. Brake boosters don't get hot, but it's a really good gasket. Like it's got like a rubber feel to it. It's flexible. It's actually, if anything, it's a lot better than, like, you can see how I'm bending it. Like it's just, it's really rubbery. So it'll do a great job there, and it'll probably act as a little bit of a damper too. Hey everyone, now that we've made it to this far in the video, I wanted to let you guys in on a little, I don't know what you call it, but a little like endeavor that I'm having a crack at. So what I wanted to actually make, and I'll use my 3D printer for this, I wanted to make a headlight duct for this car. Now, there's not a lot in, there's none in Australia. I haven't seen anyone that sells a headlight duct in Australia for a Supra. There is a few in Europe, I think, and the US may have one. But I just, there's nothing around here, and there's nothing really that I like. I've seen like some fiberglass ones. There's one that has like a massive cutout here, but then nothing in the back. Doesn't really direct air or anything like that. So I wanted to have a crack at actually designing my own design on what I think a headlight duct should look like. Also, the other thing is, here in Australia, our rules are quite strict on driving on the roads. Like, the cars have to have lights. I think I don't know about tracks, whether you have to have lights or not, but I'm pretty sure you don't. But anyway, I wanted to also make a headlight duct that still had a projector in it. So the thing about the Supra is, where the projector is here in the corner, it's not really like, it doesn't need to have a cutout all the way out to the end. The cutout essentially could be here. So what I wanted to do, I wanted to make a nice looking headlight that would suit the car. So yeah, that's my next thing that I'm going to try and work on. Now, it's going to take me a bit of time. The thing is, I don't have an engine in the car at the moment, and I kind of need the engine in there so I know what angles I need to send air that comes through here. I'll obviously build it around my car, but I'll see if I can make it modular in a way where, if I could finish it and there was a demand for it, I might make a version that I can then share with everyone else. So yeah, that'd be pretty cool, something that I could do for the Supra community here. And obviously I'm doing it for my own car. If I can make it and like bring a proof of concept for a design that everyone likes. What I might do is, actually, when I do get like a fair way into it, I might put a video up strictly about this subject, and then let you guys tell me where you think I should like take the direction in terms of designing it and stuff, what things I should change, things that you would think you like aesthetically on the headlight duct. But yeah, so that's a pretty exciting thing for me that I want to do. It's going to take me a little bit of time to do it. It's going to involve quite a bit of like 3D scanning. I'm going to have the engine in there, scan that too, kind of do an overlay and find out where the piping needs to go. But yeah, that's it really. So yeah, thanks again for tuning in for another video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If there's anything else that you guys think I should make some content on, let me know. I might do some spin-off content on some other car stuff that I do as well, not just the Supra, of course, because it takes a bit of time. I'm getting parts for this car as well. I'm still waiting for parts. There's a lot of things that are still like happening in the background for me to be able to finish this car. So we'll probably have some content on the engine soon, and then we'll continue on from that as well. Thanks guys, cheers. Catch you in the next one.